Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and it's time in 2014 to begin to look at 2012's Fall of Cybertron Combaticons. Hailing from the Generations line, this is Onslaught, the leader of the bunch and the most unique of the five. Because rather than being a quadruple-changing deluxe that came out during the toy-affecting economic down curve, he's just a triple-changer. Onslaught's a little battering ram on wheels with a basic shape that I really enjoy. From the front he looks fine, but from the rear or in profile, well, let me point out, I'm dropping an ellipses while saying I'm actually okay with the H-tanky gap in the back. It's that central tech pile hiding under the twin cannons. Without any side paneling or rear sloping, it is the sorest thumb, sticking out loud and proud. But man, from any front angle, Onslaught is so pleasant. He rolls around happily within the hand-waving Cybertronian vehicle aesthetic. His retail colors are fairly game-accurate in palette, firing on greeny-blue cylinders that taste like visual lime soda. Onslaught's got a simple transformation whose main pro points are some very interesting and clicky moments below his waistline. And it's not that the arms and head are a completely different experience, far from it, but they lack the satisfying geometric precision I feel from Onslaught's lovely leg flip. While he's way more lean and slim than his in-game model, Onslaught cuts a fantastic silhouette in his robot mode. He's a nice height with a defined bipedal skeleton running through his occasional armored bulk. And he looks alright from more viewing angles now. The main bummer is the hole in his back, where the Bruticus head would really appreciate it if you stopped trying to talk to it right now, because it's totally not a head, it's a robot man's back. Colors are placed well, albeit a little sparsely. His big loss is any kind of purple paint app, but the combo of blacks, greens, and greeny military blues remain friendly to my eyes. Onslaught's green double gun can be held in his hand, but looks brutally unwieldy. I prefer using its vehicle mode connection to make it an arm-mounted weapon that runs a lot smoother with the Big O's body lines. Ball-jointed heads, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to begin, and Onslaught's is okay. There's more range here than one might expect when first looking at the fella, although that range is mostly for nodding and saying, yes sir, yes, yes absolutely, yes. Now his arms are weird. At first, it looks like there's a ratcheted elbow, and like that's it. There's this, which is weird, but it is a way to kind of BS your way around having an outward shoulder joint, because from many angles it looks like that's what's happening because of these big blocks of armor on his shoulders. However, his shoulders do actually move forward and backwards. There is a joint. The problem is when you use that joint, it really busts up the lines of the sculpt. It makes everything get really, how do you put this? Unsynchronized, very asynchronous shoulder joints. But as you can see, they are not terrible. They still can make it look like the fella's, holding his arm up and saying, hold on a second, or pointing at things and saying, get them. So, it's okay, but it's definitely a hindrance. Now, above all else, and above all the odds, and above the floor, he has a waist joint. And it's actually somewhat usable. It's on a bit of an angle. It's for the Bruticus transformation. And moving it around does mean that you are bumping some stuff back here, but there is room for it. Now, this Bruticus head is notched in down here, but it very easily unnotches. You can also just move this out of the way, but that just exposes poor Onslaught's buttocks, and that's not super cool. However, this waist joint, it's there. It helps for the scant few poses that Onslaught looks good doing. They often involve him having this gun on his arm. Sometimes this gun really likes to fall off because there's only one peg being used, not both. His hips are super tight because these are the Bruta hips. They're delightful. They're really tight. Some people's Onslaughts have had these way too tight, but mine's pretty much fine. He's got a simple pin knee joint. It bends enough, and that's about it. This guy's posability, as far as joint count, why don't you stay in there? Is not too bad. Although the ability for his, I guess, bruted diaper to stay in place is definitely being tested. I'm not sure what got knocked out of alignment, but I just put it back in alignment. Anyway, he doesn't have a lot of poses he can do. The ones he can do, I think, look okay. But those who are disappointed by his posability, I certainly cannot blame, because there isn't a whole lot there. Although the thigh swivels help too. I forgot to mention those. His joint count is fine. It's just that only a few poses actually look any good on this guy. You can't have him really doing much with his arms at all. And I guess that's a bit of a bummer. But yo, Onslaught's jointed. He ain't no brick. You know, less concrete, more ball of earth and clay, I guess. You squeeze them and stuff happens. As far as the build quality on this 2012 Generations toy, because that is a big part of the 2012 Generations toys, he's got his hollow bits here and there. They're mostly decently hidden, like the underside of the arms, the insides of the thighs. And the plastic itself, it feels fine. It's the friction connections, like the tab that holds this thing in place, that can get a little bit hinky, especially stuff involving his arms, and especially when they're trying to Bruticus up, which we'll talk about in another video. Of the 5 Combaticons, Onslaught ranks right in the middle for me. I like him better than 2 of them, but less than the other 2. And while he's a bit less playable than those I've ranked beneath him, the moments when he looks good just work for me so much more. Onslaught puts on a good image, but it does fall apart when you look at him the wrong way or pose him outside of limitations that sometimes feel undeserved, given that he only has 3 modes stuffed into his budget rather than the 4 found crammed into his comrades. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and I'm saving Combiner Mode thoughts for a massive brain dump whenever I get to the review for Bruticus in Ensemble. This stuff's been stewing in my head for a good year now. It can wait a little longer. 3 or 4 more years. 2018. You know, according to the Chinese Zodiac, that's the best year to do a Bruticus review. Look it up.